Ever since World at War, pretty much every Call of Duty has had a third game mode. The main one, of course, being zombies. We've seen plenty of versions of zombies from Treyarch. We've had Infinite Warfare zombies from Infinity Ward, a World War II and futuristic exo zombies from Sledgehammer. We also had survival as one of the third modes in Modern Warfare 2, the original and the latest one. And the other third mode that we've had is Extinction, which is not zombies, it is not soldiers that we are shooting. This third COD mode revolved around aliens, or I should say the cryptids. So I thought, well, I've done and I covered plenty of videos on zombies. I play pretty much all of these zombies games on the regular, besides from EXO and some of these Sledgehammer ones. Pretty much every Treyarch zombies mode I play on a regular occurrence. Because Modern Warfare 2 came out not that long ago, I'm still familiar with the survival mode. However, Extinction released in Call of Duty Ghosts, which came out in 2013. 11 years ago. I haven't played this mode since then. I haven't touched it since 2013, 2014. I haven't played it for 10 years, so I wanted to go back and see if my experience, from what I can remember, is as bad as it was back then, because I'm going to be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Extinction. I didn't really like it, and a lot of people also felt the same. There was a reason why it never returned. Yes, I know it had and still has its small fan base out there, but for the majority of Call of Duty players, when it comes to a third mode, Extinction was one of the weakest. Was it the worst? That's a different question, but whether you like it or not, one of the reasons why it just never came back, why we never saw an Extinction 2, and actually why Extinction 2 was cancelled, because we were supposed to be getting it. Infinity Ward were planning on making it, but Activision scrapped it because of the reception of the first. So this wasn't a love third mode like zombies or survival was, and that was my perception of it 10 years ago. I wasn't a big fan. It was just okay, not terrible, but I thought I'd go back now, play it again, and see if nostalgia can change my mind. There are so many cases where I've gone back to play older games, or I can apply this to older Call of Duties. I've gone back to play them years later and changed my opinion and said, actually, why did everyone hate this? It's really good. Maybe that's a bit over the top, but you know what I mean. Time and nostalgia can change people's opinions. So after 10 years, I went back to play Extinction to see if it's actually better than what people said. Is it good? So the first thing I need to clear up is I only played the first map, the base one, Point of Contact, because I don't have any of the DLCs, but I can remember playing them, and like our zombies maps, the basic features are all available in the first maps. You mainly just have new enemies in the DLCs and new objectives, but the basic features are still the same to a certain extent, and that's mainly what I want to focus on, not each and every map, Extinction as a whole. And referring to the first map, Point of Contact specifically, it's exactly like I remember. Now, what's really interesting about Extinction compared to zombies or survival is it's a lot more story based and objective based than what zombies would be, for example. So in COD Zombies, you would just load into a game, kill the undead, and go up to whatever round you wanted. You could just casually play the game, and then if you wanted to, as an option, you could complete the Easter eggs, which would give you certain objectives to do. Along the way, you would learn the story, and then at the end, you would normally get a cutscene. But where Extinction differs is there isn't really an option for you to just casually enjoy the game like you can zombies. It's very heavily story focused, which is a plus if you like story games, but I think a downside if you want to play in more casual mode like zombies or survival. There is no similar round based mode. I mean, there's this, which I would say is a lot closer to a survival mode than what Extinction is, because Extinction is the name of the game mode. Whatever Infinity Ward tried to do with this right here, I have no idea. It's terrible, it's not fun. Yeah, unlike zombies, there's no casual mode in Extinction. So basically the premise of the mode is you load in, you usually see a cutscene, an introduction to the map you're playing, in this case Point of Contact. You get dropped off a helicopter, handed a drill, and told to make your way throughout the map destroying hives until you reach the end where you set off and you can then have to evacuate on the helicopter. So you load in with your pistol, place the drill down on the first hive, you will then start getting attacked by the aliens or the cryptids. In this first little area you're just going to come across the regular ones, but how this differs from zombies, for example, and I'm going to make the comparison between the two because that is the mode that's returned the most times, that's the more popular one. That is the reason why this never returned, because zombies was seen as better. The question I want to answer is, was it? But you spawn into the game with a pistol. You get a choice of a few different ones. Honestly, on whatever map you're playing, the first few hives that you have to destroy are going to be pretty difficult just because you don't have any upgrades. You're going to find yourself running out of ammo quite quickly, which can be annoying and difficult. Whereas on zombies, they are quite slow. So even though you have a bad weapon at the start, those early rounds are easy. But at the start of Extinction, the cryptids are quite fast. You've got a pretty bad weapon, low ammo. So getting through these first hives can be difficult. Now there are weapons that you find around the map which you can pick up. They work similar to wall weapons. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this system because it feels like you're constantly either purchasing more ammo or you're buying another weapon instead of sticking with one gun throughout the game as you usually would. In these earlier rounds especially, you're probably going to be changing up guns quite a bit just because of the lack of upgrades and ammo. But as you progress on through the map putting these hives down, eventually more difficult enemies are going to come out. The next ones that you're going to come across are the scorpions, and at this point you come across your first main hive which you can't destroy with the drill, and instead a helicopter comes in that you have to protect from the scorpions and destroys it. Now the problem is, to get through this first area you have to destroy about 5 hives, but this is where it becomes extremely repetitive really quickly, because you can imagine each and every time you want to play this mode you've got to destroy about 15 hives to get through the map. The hives can take 1 to 2 to 3 minutes to destroy as you get through them, and that's really what you spend most of your time doing. Just putting the drill down, destroying a hive, going to the next one, putting a drill down, destroying the hive. I don't really find there's any time to just casually play. Extinction isn't a casual game mode. You don't really get time to run around the map. There's no such thing as training the cryptids. You don't really get to explore, which is a shame because unlike recent iterations of zombies that we've had, Vanguard for example, or Modern Warfare 3, where the maps have been really lazy and poor, you can tell Infinity would put a lot of effort into every single Extinction map. They're all unique, they all look really good, they've all got character, they've all been designed for Extinction, which I really appreciate. The maps are great, but how the mode itself works, I just don't like. And that's coming from a person that loves stories. One of the reasons why I love COD Zombies is the storyline. I prefer the storyline to the gameplay, but I can still sit back and play a game of zombies whenever I feel. Whereas Extinction, it's a chore to play because of how objective based it is. Whether it's destroying hives on the first few maps or as you get later on to other DLCs, that is replaced with opening doors and then surviving in new areas. After playing the game once, you're then doing these exact same challenges each and every game, and after about, honestly, 2 playthroughs, it's very boring. And because the game mode, unless you've got a lot of teeth unlocked to upgrade everything from the bat, it's also really hard. I'm playing on the easiest difficulty right now, but on casual, that's what I loaded into the first time around, and oh my god, I haven't played the mode for 10 years, but it's so much more difficult than zombies. I think it would be better if the first section wasn't so difficult. Normally you would build up through the rounds, it'd start off easy and then get harder, but you'd also get better weapons to counter that. But Extinction starts off difficult, and then I actually found it got a tiny bit easier as you went on, not because the weapons necessarily got better that you could purchase, but because you had more skill points unlocked to unlock better skills. The ammo upgrades, the upgrades to your weapons such as the sentry gun, the armor, really do come in handy. But that's the other problem, well, you have to do this every single game. They're not permanent unlocks. Anyway, once you get past that first section, you then come to the next location, which I would describe as tier 2. You have to destroy again about 5 hives, but in this section you're introduced to a new type of enemy, which are these explosive cryptids. Honestly, they're not that much more difficult, but they are a bit more annoying. You've just got to be more careful, but the same premise stands for this area. You destroy the hives, get to the main one where the chopper has to come in and destroy it because the drill won't do it. You've got to protect the chopper against the scorpions. Eventually the hive will get destroyed, and you move on to the next section where you rinse and repeat over and over again. You destroy about 5 or 6 hives. In this last section, you're introduced to a new enemy, which is the Rhino, who is very difficult. Not as hard as other versions of the Rhino. There is a blue-eyed one which you're introduced to in other maps, but yeah, I find the chainsaw helps in this area. And then once you've destroyed all of the hives, you get access to the nuclear button, which you set off. You then get about 4 minutes to run back to the starting area where you evacuate on the chopper, and upon doing so you see the nuke explodes, and that's mission complete. So you can see Extinction is extremely story driven. It is in no way a casual game mode, which I think was one of the reasons why a lot of people just didn't like it. I think for a third mode, you've got to have that casual experience. Yes, having something like this which is story based is great, but I think the best example I can use is imagine having to complete the Easter egg every time you play a game of zombies. After about 5 playthroughs, you'd probably be pretty bored of, well, doing the same Easter egg steps over and over again. That's essentially what it feels like playing Extinction. And I have to be honest, I thought I'd change my opinion. I thought nostalgia would play a part here, like it has with other modes or games, but honestly, it didn't. I didn't enjoy playing Extinction. I'm kind of glad it didn't return. Nostalgia's a bitch. There are some great things going for it. I think the upgrade system is actually good. What I liked about Extinction is it tried something different. Nowadays in Call of Duty we have the same thing every single year, which is fine if the formula works, but I appreciate what Infinity Ward tried to do here. They did something totally new. You know, there's no such thing as perk machines or a pack-a-punch, but what they did give us was the unlock system, which I actually liked. You earn skill points as you progress through the map, and then you can upgrade your ammo, your team support, strike packages, and equalizer, and you can also change them as well. So in the main menu, you could change what ammo type you wanted to use in the game. Maybe you wanted armor piercing rounds, which would be better against the rhinos. You could get incendiary ammo, regular ammo. For the team support section, you could have armor, random supplies, team explosives. For strike packages, you could choose to have a sentry gun, a drone, IMS, mortars, and for your equalizer, which was essentially the special weapon, you could choose a riot shield, a death machine, a portable turret, the grenade launcher. The customization on the loadouts had lots of options and were all really good. The only thing I was never too keen on was the starting weapon, how you could only load in with a pistol and you have to keep that pistol all throughout the game. It's not like zombies where you can load in with it and then swap it out for something better. That is your second or third weapon, although it could get very good with upgrades. And then they also introduced relics, which essentially would apply a challenge to your match to make the game harder. So you could do something like, you could apply the take more damage relic, which would mean you take more damage when you're injured. You could apply the pistols only one. You would have one where you would earn less cash in game, all of which would make your game harder than what it already is, but would be worth it if you did manage to complete matches with them. If you haven't actually played Extinction for yourself, just watching gameplay, if you're playing on the regular difficulty, I can't describe quite how hard it actually is. The health system combined with how the cryptids move, how slow you actually are, and how purchasing weapons in the game works, it's hard. And Point of Contact, what I'm playing here, is the easiest map of the bunch. Just quickly on the other maps, we have Nightfall, Mayday, Awakening, and Exodus. I can't remember playing the final two, Awakening and Exodus. What I think happened in 2014, I would have been 16 years old when I played this. I think by the time the final two DLCs released, I just had enough of this game mode. I wasn't a fan of it. Nightfall, I actually liked. Mayday, not so much. I must have played Awakening and Exodus because I definitely purchased them. I must have only had a couple of playthroughs, which shows I didn't like them. But one thing I can say about every single map is the storyline that is told is great. And what I mean by that is not necessarily that the story is interesting. I think it's okay. I've done a full storyline video of Extinction. I've seen all of the cutscenes, but the story aspects that actually take place, for example, at the beginning of Nightfall, you see the spider come down and kill the soldier at the gate. And that reminds me, the boss fights on these maps are some of the best ever, overtaking a lot of zombies maps. But when it just comes to Extinction as a whole, I was just never a fan of the gameplay. I don't like that. It's not a casual mode. It's very objective based, and because of that, it feels extremely repetitive to play it. Honestly, it's not fun to play for me. That's just my opinion. A lot of people back in the day must have felt similar because, like I said, by the end, there was a plan for an Extinction 2. It just never happened. I'm happy that this still exists for us to go back and play, but for me, nostalgia doesn't play a part in making this any better than it actually was. It's different. It's not bad, but it wasn't a success, and I still think Extinction is just another third Call of Duty mode that existed. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.